Hello, happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having an awesome day. If you are new to our community, welcome to the Energetic Scaling Sales and Marketing Facebook group. I'm so glad you're here. I'm going live in my bedroom because it's the quietest place in my house because my toddler's out playing, and so you're definitely going to hear him screaming with his friend. And I just got the newborn down, so I'm like full mom mode. And full disclosure, I have two businesses and I build both of them in about 2 to 3 hours a day while I'm momming. So a lot of the times when I show up on these lives, I'm just like hot mess mom express, and that's just the way it is, and I'm cool with it. So if you're new here, welcome. Comment below. Tell me if you're on live. Tell me if you're watching the replay. And also, I'd love to know if you're new to the group, where you're from. If you haven't read, I have quite a few new members. So if you haven't read the welcome post, make sure to read that, because this Facebook group is not about vanity metrics. I don't care how many people are in here. What I care about is having the right kind of people in here who are serious about their business. They're serious about going to multiple six figures, and having thriving businesses from a place of joy and a place of authenticity, a place of fun, and making a bigger impact on the world, and doing the shit, doing the work, the inner work, the outer work, and just taking action. So I keep people in the group who are engaged, watching lives, talking to each other, collaborating, and I just go through every week and I remove people who aren't engaged. So that's just a heads up on that. So if you're new to the group, make sure to comment below, tell me where you're from, and then make sure to comment on the welcome post in the community here. So I wanted to make sure I'm actually live in the proper group, and then I'm going to dive right in. And I do these trainings every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern for the ladies who stay in the group, because honestly, a lot of this stuff is just scratching the surface of what I do with my clients. However, it's still stuff that normally people would have to pay for. And that's another reason that I clean out the group a lot, is because this is stuff that I'm not wasting my time. If I'm going to sit here and talk, I want you to get the results and show up and listen to it. So I come in every Wednesday with a training, and I make sure they're added with tons of value so that you can move your business forward and get a lot of information from it. So, and apparently I dropped my phone too. I'm trying to find a spot to kind of prop my phone up. Okay. Like I said, sometimes I'm just a little bit of a mess over here, but we keep it real up in here. Okay, so today let's talk about it. I'm super excited for this because I am actually a huge manifestation nerd, and I don't really talk about it a lot. I don't market as a manifestation coach, but that is essentially what we're all doing, right? We're all manifesting all the time. We're born creators, and I think too many of us give our power away and forget that's what we are. We forget that we are literally born creators, and that's what we do all day, every day. So I know sometimes people can roll their eyes when they're like, oh, they're teaching manifestation, but literally that's all it is. So really what I'm teaching you today is the energetics, and I have a simple 7-step process I go through anytime I have my intentions on, manifesting something I want in my life. It's foolproof. It works every time. It's how I help my clients. It's really how manifestation works for everyone. But the thing that I want you to understand is that, number one, a lot of what's taught about manifestation, the reason it feels so hard and it feels so difficult to learn is because you're trying to master something consciously that is happening subconsciously. Okay, so what I mean by that is a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with teaching conscious manifestation practices. So when I say conscious manifestation practices, what I mean by that is a lot of manifestation coaches will teach the things that you do, right? Go write journal prompts, have a gratitude journal, meditate, make sure that you keep your wallet clean so you can attract more money. They have you taking all these actions, write your affirmations, journal. Those things are amazing, but those aren't what creates the shifts. Those aren't some magical tool that suddenly creates manifestations in your business. What they do is they shift your inner state. Your inner state, aka how you feel, is what manifests the results. In addition to that, your subconscious identity and your subconscious paradigms and beliefs is a huge component. So the reason that manifestation can feel really challenging is because we're only approaching it with our conscious mind, which is 0.004% of our mind. That's like trying to create in our business with our pinky finger, when we have a whole body, right? And we're just only using our pinky, when you have this entire body that you could be using to manifest. And that's what I help my clients with. And when I work with them is through my Success from Within method, is helping them understand how to essentially manifest, although again, I don't call it that, by reprogramming their subconscious mind, because we don't get what we want in life. We get what we are. So you can do all the manifestation practices in the world. And again, I'm going to teach you my 7-step process, and it definitely can create shifts, right? But you can do all the manifestation practices in the world and read 100 different books. But if you're not getting what you want, like for example, if you're trying to manifest more money and you're trying to manifest 150K a year or whatever it is, if you're not getting what you want, it's not because you're doing it wrong. It's not because, the coaches who taught you manifestation don't know what they're doing. It's literally because you cannot outperform your subconscious identity. So if at a subconscious level, you see yourself as somebody who earns 50K a year, and that's just all you've ever earned, and that's just the way you see yourself subconsciously, then again, it doesn't really matter what you do. You're not going to be able to get there. And that's what I help my clients do, because you can't outperform your own identity. This is why the example I always give, because it's my favorite, is lottery winners. A lot of them almost all of them really, will win a lot of money, right? Millions and millions of dollars. And almost all of them end up right back where they started, completely broke again, or back to where they were, because again, you're just always going to rise and fall to that identity. So with that being said, with that out of the way, I want you to understand that what I'm going to teach you today absolutely works, but this is the energetics piece. If you want to create true magic in your business and really understand how to create the results you want, aka manifest the results, the clients, the money that you want, you really have to combine the energetics with the aligned strategy with the subconscious reprogramming. That's like the triple trifecta, I guess you could call it. That is going to get you the results you want. And that's going to make manifesting not feel so hard. I really don't think personal growth has to be as hard as it feels. The reason it feels hard is because we're trying to change from the outside in, and that's not the way change works. You have to change from the inside out, which is why my program is literally called the Success from Within Accelerator, because we are creating success from within. Everything's created from within. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get into the steps, because this is the energetics behind manifesting. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do, and you can even write these down if you want. Step number 1, by the way, these are really simple. There's 7, but I want you to understand you'll get really good at going through them very, very quickly. So it's not like every time I want to create something in my business, I have to sit down and be like, okay, let me go through the 7 steps. Like, these are going to start to become unconscious practices for you, which is another thing I love to teach my clients, is making this on autopilot. This needs to become completely subconscious for you, so that you're not having to, not completely, but for the most part, subconscious for you, so you're not having to constantly focus on what you want. Which actually, side note, I want to share with you, a lot of people use the law of attraction to repel what they want. We do not want to do that. Okay, so a lot of people, when I work with people to shift their money beliefs and shift their subconscious identity around money so they can attract more money into their business, one of the things that I really heavily teach on is not using the law of attraction against yourself, because a lot of people do that. They'll think, okay, well, if I want more money, if I want abundance, I need to focus on that. Let me focus on it. I'm going to do the affirmations. I'm going to meditate about it. I'm going to be all about it. I'm going to think about it, and I'm going to feel really good about it. But what's the energy behind all of that action? What's the energy that you're actually putting out when you're doing that? The energy is lack, right? So there's this fine line between understanding the practices, understanding the 7 steps, but not getting into, I'm doing this because I think I need that thing. You really want to do it from a place of, I already know that I have it. And that's where it takes some practice. I know, hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, there's just a lot of people who teach law of attraction, and people end up using it against themselves to repel the very things they want. And I've totally been guilty of this. So I know from learning that the hard way. Okay, so 7 steps. First step is deciding what you want. I know that sounds really simple, but you have to be very clear, because a lot of the times when I talk to business owners, they're very indecisive about what they actually want, or kind of wishy-washy in their energy about what they want. And if you're wishy-washy with your energy about what you want, that's what the universe is going to mirror back to you. Sometimes people say, oh, the universe is testing me. No. The universe doesn't test you. Why would it do that? Like, it doesn't just sit around and be like, hey, today's a good day to be an asshole to Cassie. I'm going to teach her some lessons. It doesn't test you. It reflects you. Period. It reflects you. So with that being said, if you don't know what you want and you're not really clear about what you desire, that's going to make it really hard to call it in. So step 1 is simple. Decide what you want. Okay. And never ask either. I hear this a lot where people will be like, well, I'm trying to sign up a new client this month, or I really want 3 new clients this month. That language in itself shows me that subconsciously you're not quite to the point where you actually have embodied that it's already done. So instead of saying you want something, just decide and choose it. Like, you get to choose. You're the creator, right? So you just get to choose. You just get to decide. So step one is decide what you want. Choose what you want. That's that. Hold on, I'm going to take a drink. Now, 2 questions. These are really, really, really important. You might want to write these down. I want you to ask yourself, number 1, do I feel safe receiving this thing? So if you say, okay, Cassie, this month right? I already said the wrong word. Cassie, this month I choose to attract $5,000 into my business. Okay, awesome. You've decided what you want. I would recommend writing it down. There's a lot of power in scripting, which I could do a whole training for you guys on scripting. It's so much fun, but I'm not going to do that right now. Anyway, focus, Cassie. Okay, so write down what you want if you want, or just decide. With that being said, once you've decided what you want, ask yourself, what am I afraid will happen if I actually have this? If there's something that you've been trying to manifest for a while and it's really not coming, it's really for just a few reasons. It's either because you're using the law of attraction against yourself, like I mentioned, you're overly focused on that thing, so you're coming from the energy of lack. Or it could be because there's a part of you that is terrified to actually have it. I work with clients all the time, and this happens all the time. So I had a client recently who wanted to make, like $10,000 months in her business, and she was really struggling to get there, self-sabotaging, like just all these things were coming up. And finally, we really got down to the root of the issue, which is that she had a deep fear that if she made that kind of money, her husband would leave her because she would out-earn him, right? So if you don't feel safe to have what you want, or you don't feel like it's okay, or you're afraid, then again, you're not going to be able to call it in, because your subconscious and your conscious is designed to protect you. Your brain is designed to protect you. It's not going to let you have what's terrifying and unsafe. So I have a journal prompt that will really help you. I wonder, I could type it out and post it in the group after this, but essentially when I find that this is happening to me, when I come across something I want and I've realized I am afraid of it, I'll just write out a simple journal prompt that says, Dear Universe, okay? I literally write at the top, Dear Universe, I absolutely refuse to have blank because I have a deep fear that blank, right? So for example, Dear Universe, I absolutely refuse to have $10,000 months because I have a deep fear that blank. And then just start writing, write whatever comes up for you. You might have 10 things, you might have 20 things, you might have 30 things. I would write until you have at least 10 things, because sometimes things are a little hidden under the surface. But this will help you understand why you may be essentially cock blocking yourself. You're not allowing yourself to receive that thing that you've decided you want. Second question that you want to ask, and again, this happens all the time, is what benefit are you getting from not manifesting the thing that you say you want? I see this all the time as well. I can talk to somebody and they can tell me consciously, right? Of course I want 10K months. Like, that's what I want. I'm just using that as an example, but of course that's what I want. So their words are telling me one thing, right? Consciously, they think that's what they want, but deep down subconsciously, they actually don't want that, because they get a really huge benefit from not achieving that, right? So that's the second thing to consider. Once you decide what you want, the second step is just looking at those 2 questions. Do I feel safe to receive this? And what do I get from not creating this? Because if you're getting something from it, you're probably going to keep doing whatever it is, right? If you're getting something from that behavior or from not doing it, like for example, you get to be safe, you get to not pay taxes as much, you get to not to, like, if you have a fear that having a lot of money means you have to be responsible for money, like I used to have, then you may not be able to attract a lot of money because you don't want to be responsible for a lot of money and have to do all that stuff and tracking and taxes. Okay. So once you've done those first 2 steps, yeah, that's, thanks, Laura. Yeah, that's how I talk. And like I said, I keep it real, guys. So, I'm like, I hope Facebook doesn't like censor me, because I have quite the mouth. I don't think they will though. Okay. Step 3, I have notes, because otherwise, if you guys know me, I'll just kind of like go on tangents and I'll be gone in space. So number 3, once you've done those 2, immediately, as quickly as you can, move into allowing. Typically what we do is we move into forcing, right? So there's a big difference between force and power. Where we want to work from is power. This, the type of woman that I work with, especially inside my accelerator, is what I call the hustlepreneur. And what I teach women to do is shift from being a hustlepreneur to a powerpreneur. And the hustlepreneur's MO is, okay, I know what I want, and they're very good at creating what they want, but they do so from this energy of masculine, forcing, hustle, gotta make it happen, massive action, self-sacrifice. I don't take care of myself. Like, there's so many things going on. And so what we want to do in step 3 is move into allowing. Now, allowing doesn't mean you just sit on your ass and hope shit comes to you because the universe is just like, raining on you like that. That's not how it works. When you step into allowing, what I mean by that is you're literally getting into a space of you've decided what you want. You realize there's no blocks, at least that you've, from those 2 questions, that you can see. So you know that you're able to receive it subconsciously. Then you move into this energy of, literally what I do is I just tell my subconscious and the universe to show me the next step. And I move into receiving mode. And I know and trust and believe and always receive that the answer is going to come to me. And it always does. It always does. So the next aligned step to help you create that outcome, because there is going to be action, right? If you're trying to manifest more clients into your business, you don't just write down on a piece of paper, I now choose 2 new clients, and then do nothing. The universe needs a little action from you, right? The law of action. So instead of being like, okay, how can I force this to happen? I have to make this happen, which will sometimes work, but really typically doesn't work because it's not the right energy. I immediately shift into allowing, which means I step back and I get into alignment, and I just ask myself, number one, there's a lot of different ways you can get into alignment, and that's a whole different topic as well. But one thing I love to ask myself is, okay, if I were already there, like I've already signed 2 clients, it's a done deal, they've just like paid, what did I do to get there? That's a good question to ask. Another way that I love to ask is, okay, I've signed my 2 clients, they've paid, they're there. What things did I do that slowed me down from signing up those 2 clients? That's another way to ask it, because sometimes we'll get into this like frenzy of action, but we don't realize that it's actually not effective action. So a question I love to ask myself is like, what things did I do that actually slowed me down in that process? And that will help you get rid of some of those behaviors or those actions that actually aren't really going to get you there. A lot of times what hustlepreneurs do, and the women I work with, they do, is they just take action because they have a terrifying fear of being in their body. And they don't know how to be with themselves, and they don't know how to feel, and they really struggle to receive. In fact, if I tell them get into receiving mode, your brain may be exploding right now. You're probably like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, I don't even understand what you're saying. Because it's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable to be in your own body when you've disassociated from it for the past 15 years. It's very uncomfortable being in your body when you don't know what it means to receive because you don't allow yourself to easily receive, right? The trademark of the hustlepreneur is that they have to struggle to make things happen. And they do, right? They're achievers, they're go-getters, they check off the boxes, but they literally don't know how to do it from a place of ease. So when I say step 3 and you're like, okay, I don't understand what it means to step into receiving mode, because that was me, I would be like, what the fuck is this girl talking about? Receiving mode? Like, no, I don't, what? I just want you to understand that in itself could be like a whole program, because receiving mode is something we have not been programmed to really do in our culture, and we don't really understand what it means. Because again, it's not just sitting there hoping shit happens. You have to take action, but it's aligned action. And it's understanding that if you ask your subconscious, you ask divine, whatever you want, you can ask Jesus, like literally whatever is going to work for you. It's that higher power, your higher self, to give you the next steps. It will. But you can't hear them if you're not in receiving mode. You can't hear them if you're trying to solve the problem from the level of consciousness that created it. So part of getting into receiving mode is actually shifting your consciousness. Again, this is something I work with my clients on inside the accelerator, because shifting your consciousness, although it's simple to do, we haven't been taught how to do it. So if you have a problem and you're like, okay, I need more clients, I need more clients, I need more clients, right? And that's the problem. If you approach fixing that problem from the energy that created the problem, you're gonna have a really hard time fixing it. So what we wanna do is actually shift our consciousness first. And then instead of fixing the problem ourselves, we actually download the solution. I know that sounds complicated. It's actually very simple, but that's what receiving mode is. Okay, so hopefully you kind of followed that. So that's step 3. Let's get into receiving mode. I want to make sure I have all my notes. And receiving mode feels a lot like It's going to feel different for everybody. So it depends on the person, because feelings are highly subjective, but it often feels like a click, like a knowing, like it's done. It feels like a trust. It feels like a joyful, expansive, it's already done, but also like I can't wait to watch how it unfolds. And I also am having really fun letting it happen and doing the things I know that I need to do because I know that it's going to happen, right? So it's definitely a feeling, and you'll know when you're there and you'll know when you're not there. Okay, step 4. Step 4 is pretty simple. You've probably heard this one, is just getting into gratitude throughout your day, right? What you notice or what we appreciate in our lives gets repeated and gets multiplied. And we've heard that one a lot, so I won't spend a ton of time on step 4, but getting into that level of gratitude and noticing the abundance that's already around you is not only going to help you program yourself for noticing abundance all around you, but it's also going to shift your inner state. And all manifestation comes down to what your inner state is. That's how we manifest, is through our feelings, through our states, through our ways of being. Okay, so step 4 is getting into gratitude and also understanding that it's this or something better, right? Sometimes you won't manifest the thing that you wanted, right? The step 1 desire you wrote down, sometimes that won't happen, but you have to understand that if it doesn't happen and you've done your part, you met the universe halfway, it's this or something better. And I challenge you to think of a time in your life where that hasn't been the case, right? There have been times in my life where I've been devastated because I've missed business goals. I can think of one in particular about 3 years ago where I missed a business goal that I was devastated. I mean, absolutely devastated, because it was something I had built up in my mind and I had put so much of my self-worth around it, and it meant so much about me as a person. And if I didn't hit this goal, that I was worthless, and I had a lot of really shitty beliefs about it, and I missed the goal. And I almost quit. It was the first and only time in my entire entrepreneurial journey of 7 years that I almost quit. I was distraught. And that was the greatest thing that's ever happened to me, because it led me to hiring my first coach, which I wanted to poop my pants because it was a lot of money, who taught me a lot of what I embody now and helped me get on the path to this second business and doing what I do now. I literally wouldn't even be doing what I do now if that hadn't happened to me. So it's always this or something better, always. So you can work from this place of, I know it's going to happen. I'm excited it's going to happen. But also, if it doesn't happen, I don't really care, because it's all working out for me and everything's going to happen the way it's meant to happen. And I'm going to get the exact result I'm meant to have, because it's all happening in my favor. This is all rigged in your favor. You literally can't fuck it up. You literally can't. So again, I challenge you to think of a time when things didn't work out for you, right? I remember, like one more example, because I just love this game. I love to think of ways that things didn't work out for me and how they ultimately did, because it trains my brain to notice that things are always working out for me. But like, I'm sure you guys have all dated somebody who you were like in love with, and you're like, oh my God, they're going to be the best, and we're going to get married. And then you had your heart broken and you didn't marry them. And it probably turned out to be like literally the best thing ever. Like, thank God I didn't marry that person, right? So everything is rigged in our favor. So step 4 is gratitude throughout your day, and just recognizing that so you can get into the frequency of abundance. And again, like I said, these steps can go really quick. Once you practice them, you get really good at them, and it's just like who you are. Like, it's just a way of being. Step 5 is allowing messy chaos. Sometimes it's going to look like the manifestation isn't happening. It isn't coming. It's not working. So it kind of goes into what I just said with step 4. You have to trust that it is working. You have to let go a little bit and know that everything is working out for you. And the messy chaos is going to happen sometimes. And it may not look the way you thought it should, but it'll be something even better, right? So leaning into that chaos, leaning into the inspired downloads in the moment, and just taking action on those. And getting really good at listening to your body so you know when those drop in, right? I think so many of us, and this is something that I work with inside my accelerator and help my clients with, because the women I work with are dissociated from their bodies, and they don't really necessarily know how to feel. They don't know this, but they aren't in touch with their feelings. They've spent their life working so they don't have to feel, and hustling so they don't have to feel, and taking massive action and cleaning the house and taking care of other people and doing things for the kids so that they don't have to feel. If you don't know how to be in your body and feel, manifesting gets really, really fucking hard. Because like I said, your state, your way of being, how you feel, your energy, your vibration is what attracts what you're trying to manifest in the first place. Does that make sense? So one of those things for step 5 is embracing the messy chaos, but also getting good at being in your body so you can tell when you're in a state that you may want to shift out of, right? When you're in an inner state and a feeling where you can tell that you're not quite in alignment. You'll never know if you're in alignment or out of alignment if you have no idea how to get in touch with your own feelings and in touch with your own inner state. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, step 6 is, hi ladies, so good to see you on. Okay, step 6 is the embodiment step. Now, in my Success Within Accelerator or just working with clients, I take them through the Success Within method, because embodiment work, I know a lot of coaches throw around like, oh, you have to be the person, like you have to act like the person you want to be. And I always say, don't fake it till you make it. Embody it till you become it, right? But embodiment work, it does take a little bit of practice. And it takes, the way to make embodiment work easy, which basically means like acting as if, being that person, is to do the subconscious reprogramming piece, to do the piece where you can shift your subconscious identity. Because the beautiful thing is when you shift your identity, right? So let's say you're trying to manifest, I don't know, 100K business. If you're trying to manifest 100K business, but you're doing it from the identity of I'm someone who earns 50K a year, that's a mismatch. That right there means you don't have an inner and outer alignment. You're not going to be able to create it. So when I talk about embodiment work, people will be like, oh, act like the person you want to be. I don't like, that is some deep shit, you guys. That is some work where you really do have to go inside. It's not something, at least in my experience, where you can just wake up and suddenly be that person, right? It takes practice, because what happens is our old programming is running the show all day, every day. You spend 99% of your day in your programs, in the programming in your brain. So if you are programmed to be somebody who earns $50,000 a year, you can do embodiment work all day long and you can try to act like the person you want to be. And it may help and it may create shifts, but you're going to notice that it feels really hard. You're going to notice that it feels almost forced. You're going to notice that you fall back into being unconscious again and you fall back into your old ways of being. So another thing I always love to say is it's not about the doing. It's about the being, doing the doing, being the person. Like, are you being confident? Are you being worthy? Are you being abundant? And those are things, those are the embodiment pieces that you have to really shift at a subconscious level, because the beautiful thing is once you shift it at the subconscious level, which can be done very, very quickly, everything else is automatic. So you're not having to wake up being like, okay, Cassie, pretend to be the person you want to be to manifest the life you want, right? You just wake up and you are that. You just wake up and that's who you literally are, because you've shifted your subconscious identity. This reminds me of my client Amy, who I just had a call with last week. And when she started working with me in January, she was like really, really stressed about money and had this identity around money is hard and I have to go hustle and work really hard for it. Literally within less than 2 months of just doing some of the reprogramming and embodiment work, she's like, money's never been this easy for me. Like it's not even a big deal. And that's what I want you to understand is a lot of this stuff isn't that hard. It's kind of like a fish in water. It doesn't know that it's in water, right? Because it's the fish. It's kind of the same thing. You don't understand the programs that are running you because you're that fish in water. You don't know that water is all around you. You don't see what you don't see. You don't see the programming running the show until you learn how to reprogram in the stuff that's actually going to serve you and see the things that are blocking you from what you want. So in step 6, it is the embodiment piece, to act like the person who already has it. But I understand that's a big ask if you haven't done any of that inner work yet, right? So last thing I do is step 7, and this is my favorite step because it's so much fun, is make it a game and act as if everything is a sign. I love doing this. I do it all the time. So I literally, first of all, everything is a game. Life is just one big game in my eyes. It's for fun. It's for our enjoyment. We're not here to build businesses so we can struggle and suffer, right? You can't build a business. Like if your ultimate desire in your business is ease and flow and joy and abundance, you can't get there from the energy of struggle, hustle, sacrifice, and misery and lack. Like that's literally never going to happen. And that's what we are typically taught to do. Okay, if you want freedom and abundance and joy, well, awesome. You can have that But first, you're going to have to go do all these things that feel really shitty and are really misaligned and really don't feel good. And you're going to have to burn yourself out. And then you can finally get there. And it's never going to happen. You don't get there from here, right? So with that being said, in step 7, what I love to do is, number 1, I see everything as a sign that it's working, even negative things. I just play a game. Everything's a sign. So if I get a client who says, or if I do a sales call, for example, and somebody messages me and they're like, decide not to join, whatever, they end up not buying, end up not signing up for my sales call, that's a sign. That's a positive sign. Oh my God, everything is working out for me. Like something really good is happening, because, you know, that person probably just wasn't a good fit, or maybe this wasn't the right time, or, oh, they're probably going to sign up next month. Like I figure out a way to make everything a sign. And it's a really fun game, because you can just, nothing has any meaning except for the meaning you give it. So somebody might look at me and be like, that bitch is crazy. She's making everything into some positive sign that things are working out for her. But nothing has any meaning except for the meaning I give it. So why not just assign positive meanings to everything that's going on? And everything's a sign. So for example, if you're trying to grow your Instagram, maybe that's your intention, is like, I want to grow my Instagram to 1,000 followers. Then again, everything is a sign. 1 new follower, celebrate it. That's a sign that people are coming in. If you can't celebrate the small things, why would you ever get the big things, right? Like you have to, it goes back to that gratitude and appreciation piece. So I play a little game where I like to celebrate everything, and I take it as a sign that things are working out. And I take note of all the things I already have that are in alignment with that, right? So if I'm trying to attract, again, an example, $10,000 months, well, then I'm going to have a lot of gratitude for the money I already have, for the things that are already flowing into my life, and see that as a sign that it's all working out for me. So I celebrate a lot. I think that's, you know, one of the most, because then again, that shifts your frequency, that shifts your vibration as well, right? So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up because I've been talking for what I just realized was 30 minutes. But, okay, cool. So, okay, good. Ladies, thank you so much for hopping on live. That was my quick training on this. Now, if you have questions or you want clarity or anything like that, feel free to comment below. Would be happy to answer any questions for you. And if you want to learn more about working inside the accelerator with me, DM me. Actually, no, don't DM me, because sometimes those get like really full. So if you're interested in the accelerator, comment below accelerator, and me or someone on my team will be in touch. My accelerator is my high touch 4-month group coaching program. It's very, very intimate. You get weekly coaching calls with me. And the intention is by the end of 4 months, it's to help you prep for blasting past your 6-figure level so that you can create 6-figure business or a multi-6-figure business, which I have some women doing. So really the intention and what I do in the program is helping you do the things I talked about, helping you reprogram your subconscious identity so that you can be the person who has the business that you want. So you can stop trying to do your way to success and instead just be that person and then create the results you want naturally from your ways of being, right? So we remove all your subconscious money blocks, visibility blocks, success blocks, get into the inner work. And then from there, once we've like really done the inner work, which doesn't take as long as you think, right? It sounds so scary, the inner work. Like honestly, guys, sometimes the inner work it doesn't have to be so heavy. It doesn't have to be so like traumatic and hard, and like some of it is, I'm not saying that, but a lot of it isn't. I actually think transformation is joyful. It's one of my highest values is joy. And I believe that we can do this inner work and transform our lives from the inside out and transform ourselves and our beliefs and our identities from this really joyful, fun energy. And that's just what I think. That's just what I believe. So I know that it sounds a little more intense than it is, but just because it's deep inner work doesn't mean that you have to be like, you know, in the trenches of misery and struggle and suffering to create the changes you want. So inside the accelerator, I really help with that piece. And then once we're in alignment, once you have the right subconscious identity, then we go into the aligned business strategy. But I just truly know for a fact that if what you're doing isn't getting you where you want to go, then it's not a matter of just doing different, better, or more. It's not a matter of doing it all. If what you're doing isn't working, it's who you're being at a subconscious level that needs shifted, right? So if you want details on the accelerator, comment below accelerator. I will be in touch. And I hope you guys had have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Bye, guys.